Surprise, everyone! He's been cheating for months! What is this? How could you do this to me?
My husband looked me straight in the eyes and said he was leaving me for my own sister. I stood there frozen, unable to believe what I was hearing. The man I loved for 10 years, the father of my 2 children, was choosing my younger sister over me. But what he didn't know was that I had already discovered their secret texts, their secret meetings, and I had planned something that would change everything. I am not the victim in this story anymore. I am the woman who rose from the ashes and got the revenge that shook our entire family. Hey everyone, welcome back to Storytime Central, where we share stories of strength, transformation, and the power of rising again. Today I am sharing my personal story of betrayal, heartbreak, and the ultimate revenge that nobody saw coming. If you have ever been betrayed, if you have ever felt broken, if you have ever wondered how to stand up again, then this story is for you. Stay till the end, because what I did will shock you. My name is Sarah, and I was living what I thought was a perfect life. I had been married to Marcus for 10 years. We met in college, fell deeply in love, and built a beautiful life together. We had 2 amazing kids, a boy named Jordan, who was 8, and a girl named Maya, who was 6. Marcus worked as a financial consultant, and I was a teacher. We lived in a nice neighborhood, had family dinners every Sunday, and from the outside, everything looked perfect. But behind closed doors, my marriage was falling apart, and I had no idea. It all started 6 months ago when Marcus began acting strange. He would come home late claiming he had work meetings. He became protective of his phone, always keeping it face down and taking calls in another room. When I tried to talk to him, he would snap at me or dismiss my concerns, saying I was being paranoid. I tried to ignore the gut feeling that something was wrong. I told myself I was overthinking, that he was just stressed with work. But deep down I knew something was very wrong. Then one evening, everything changed. I was doing laundry and found a receipt in Marcus's jeans pocket. It was from an expensive restaurant downtown, a place we had never been to together. The date on the receipt was last Tuesday, the same night he told me he was working late. My hands started shaking as I stared at that piece of paper. Why would he lie to me? Where was he really that night? And who was he with? I decided to check his phone that night. While Marcus was in the shower, I quietly took his phone from the nightstand. My heart was pounding so hard I thought he would hear it. I entered his passcode and opened his messages. What I saw made my blood run cold. There were hundreds of messages between Marcus and someone saved as Jay. But when I opened the chat, I realized Jay was not a man. It was my sister, Jessica. The messages were flirty, intimate, and filled with plans to meet up. They talked about how they had to be careful, how they couldn't let me find out. They sent heart emojis to each other, called each other baby, and talked about a future together. I scrolled back weeks and weeks. The affair had been going on for at least 4 months. My own husband and my own sister had been betraying me right under my nose. I felt like I couldn't breathe. The room started spinning and I had to sit down on the bathroom floor to keep from passing out. How could they do this to me? Jessica was my younger sister by 3 years. We had always been close growing up. We shared secrets, supported each other through breakups, celebrated each other's successes. I was the maid of honor at her wedding 2 years ago. And now she was sleeping with my husband. I wanted to scream, I wanted to confront them both right then and there. But something stopped me. A voice in my head told me to stay calm, to think strategically. If I confronted them now, they would just deny it, or make excuses. I needed proof, I needed a plan. So I took screenshots of everything, sent them to my email, deleted the evidence from his phone, and put it back exactly where I found it. When Marcus came out of the shower, I was already in bed, pretending to be asleep. The next few days were the hardest of my life. I had to act normal around Marcus, pretending I didn't know anything. I had to smile at family dinners, look him in the eyes, and act like my world hadn't just shattered. But inside I was breaking. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I would cry silently in the bathroom after putting the kids to bed. Every time Marcus touched me, I wanted to pull away, but I couldn't let him know that I knew. I also had to face Jessica. She called me that week asking if I wanted to go shopping like we used to. I said yes. I met her at the mall and watched her laugh and talk about her life, acting like she wasn't destroying mine. She even asked me how Marcus was doing, if everything was okay between us. I looked at her and lied, saying everything was perfect. I watched her face for any sign of guilt, but there was nothing. She was a good liar, better than I ever thought possible. While playing the perfect wife and sister, I started gathering evidence. I installed a tracking app on Marcus's phone without him knowing. I followed him one evening when he said he had a late meeting and watched him go to Jessica's apartment. I took photos of him entering her building. I hired a private investigator who captured them together at restaurants, holding hands, kissing in parking lots. I documented everything because I knew I would need it. I also started protecting myself financially. I opened a separate bank account and began transferring small amounts of money that Marcus wouldn't notice. I made copies of all our important documents, mortgage papers, car titles, bank statements, investment accounts. I took photos of everything valuable in our house, jewelry, electronics, furniture. I met with a divorce attorney to understand my rights and what I was entitled to. I was not going to let them destroy me financially on top of everything else. 3 weeks into my investigation, I discovered something even worse. Jessica was pregnant. I overheard her on the phone with Marcus when I showed up at her apartment unannounced. She didn't know I was standing outside her door listening. She was telling Marcus that she was 8 weeks along, and they needed to figure out what to do. She said she wanted to keep the baby, that this was their chance to finally be together. Marcus told her he would leave me soon, that he just needed to find the right time. That was the moment I knew I had to act. I couldn't let this go on any longer. I couldn't let them think they were going to get away with this, so I planned my revenge carefully. Every detail, every step was calculated. I was going to expose them in front of everyone they loved, in a way they would never forget. 2 weeks later was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. My mom had planned a big celebration at a hotel banquet hall with over 100 guests. All of our family and friends would be there, including Marcus and Jessica. I volunteered to help organize the event, which gave me access to everything I needed. I told my mom I wanted to put together a special video presentation of family memories over the years. She loved the idea and gave me full control. I spent days creating that video. Beautiful photos of my parents growing up, getting married, having children, building their life together. I added photos of me and Marcus on our wedding day, photos of our kids, photos of family vacations. It was emotional and heartfelt. Everyone would love it. But at the very end, I added something special. Screenshots of the messages between Marcus and Jessica, photos of them together at restaurants, hotels, entering and leaving Jessica's apartment, a timeline of their 4-month affair, all set to dramatic music. The night of the anniversary party arrived. I wore my best dress, did my hair and makeup, and walked in with Marcus and our kids like the perfect family. Jessica was already there with her husband David, who had no idea what his wife had been doing behind his back. I greeted everyone, smiled, took photos, and acted like everything was wonderful. Inside my heart was racing, but I felt strong. I felt powerful. I was about to change everything. After dinner, my dad gave a beautiful speech about love, commitment, and family. Then he invited me up to present the video I had made. I took the microphone, thanked everyone for coming, and told them I had put together something special to celebrate my parents' incredible journey. I asked them to dim the lights and started the video. The first few minutes were exactly what everyone expected. Beautiful family photos, touching music, people smiling and wiping away happy tears. My mom was crying in the front row. My dad had his arm around her. Marcus was sitting next to me, holding my hand. Jessica was at another table with David. Then the music changed. The photos changed. And everything exploded. The screen filled with text messages between Marcus and Jessica, their flirty conversations, their plans to meet, their discussions about me not knowing. People started gasping. Then came the photos, Marcus and Jessica, kissing in a parking lot, having dinner together, holding hands, walking down the street, going into Jessica's apartment building together. The room erupted in chaos. People were shouting, talking over each other, standing up, trying to figure out what was happening. Marcus jumped up and yelled for someone to turn it off. Jessica ran toward the screen, crying and screaming that this wasn't real. David stood frozen, staring at his wife. My mom was sobbing. My dad looked like he was going to have a heart attack. But I wasn't done. The final slide appeared on the screen. It was a text message from Jessica to Marcus, telling him she was pregnant, asking him when he was finally going to leave me so they could be together. Then the video ended, and the lights came back on. The silence was deafening. Everyone was staring at Marcus and Jessica. Some people were looking at me. David walked up to Jessica and demanded to know if it was true. She tried to deny it, but he wasn't listening. He walked out of the banquet hall, and she ran after him crying and begging him to wait. Marcus tried to grab my arm, but I pulled away. He started making excuses, saying the messages were taken out of context, that it wasn't what it looked like. I took the microphone again. My voice was steady and strong. I told everyone that for the past 6 months, my husband and my sister had been having an affair. I told them about the lies, the secret meetings, the pregnancy. I told them I had tried to be the perfect wife, the perfect sister, but I was done protecting people who didn't care about me. I was done being the victim. I deserved better, and so did my children. Then I looked directly at my parents and apologized for ruining their anniversary party. I told them I loved them, and I hoped they could understand why I had to do this. I couldn't keep living a lie. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I handed the microphone back, walked over to my kids, who were confused and scared, and led them out of that banquet hall with my head held high. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Marcus tried calling me hundreds of times that night. I didn't answer. I had already changed the locks on our house. By the time he came home, his bags were packed and sitting on the front porch. I had also filed for divorce that morning. My lawyer served him papers the next day. Jessica tried reaching out to, sending me long messages begging for forgiveness, saying she made a mistake, that she never meant to hurt me. I blocked her on everything. David filed for divorce from Jessica within a week. My parents were devastated. My mom didn't speak to Jessica for months. My dad told Marcus he was never welcome in their home again. The rest of our family took sides. Most supported me, but a few thought I had gone too far, that I had embarrassed everyone publicly. I didn't care. I was tired of protecting people who hurt me. I was tired of suffering in silence. The divorce process was long and painful, but I was prepared. Marcus tried to fight for custody of the kids, but with all the evidence I had of his affair and abandonment, the court ruled in my favor. I got primary custody, the house, and a significant portion of our assets. He was ordered to pay child support and alimony. His reputation was destroyed. Most of his friends stopped talking to him. His job even questioned his integrity after word spread about what he had done. Jessica lost everything too. David took her to court, and because of the affair, she got very little in their divorce. She lost friends, family, respect. Her pregnancy ended in a miscarriage 2 months later, and Marcus blamed her for everything. Their relationship fell apart within 6 months of my revenge. Everything they thought they were building together crumbled. They destroyed 2 marriages, hurt so many people, and ended up with nothing. As for me, the first few months after the divorce were incredibly hard. I had to rebuild my life from scratch. I went to therapy to deal with the trauma of betrayal. I leaned on my close friends, who supported me through everything. I focused on my kids, making sure they felt loved and secure despite everything that had happened. I threw myself into work, got a promotion, and started saving money for our future. It has been 2 years since that anniversary party, and my life is completely different. I am stronger, more confident, and more independent than I ever was during my marriage. I bought a smaller house that feels more like home than the one I shared with Marcus. I started dating again and met someone who treats me with respect and honesty. My kids are happy and thriving. They have a stable, loving home. Marcus is living in a small apartment, working a lower-paying job, and struggling to make his support payments. Jessica moved to another city to escape the judgment and start over. Our family is slowly healing, but the trust is gone forever. Some relationships can never be repaired. People ask me if I regret what I did, if I wish I had handled it differently. My answer is always no. I don't regret exposing the truth. I don't regret standing up for myself. Yes, it was dramatic. Yes, it hurt a lot of people. But staying silent would have hurt me more. Letting them get away with it would have destroyed me. I chose myself. One chose my dignity. I chose my future. To anyone watching this who has been betrayed, who has been lied to, who has been made to feel small, I want you to know that you deserve better. You don't have to accept disrespect. You don't have to protect people who hurt you. You have the power to stand up, to walk away, and to create a better life for yourself. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. So that is my story of betrayal and revenge. The day I stopped being a victim and became a queen again. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. Drop a comment below telling me your thoughts. and share this video with anyone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because I post new stories every week about women who rise, women who fight back, and women who refuse to be broken. Thank you for watching, and remember, every queen deserves her revenge and her crown.